Now, the next trailer we're going to talk about didn't drop during CCXP. This is its own moment. It's the trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, I want to spend a bit of time on this because this is big. This is Grand Theft Auto 6. They have not released a Grand Theft Auto game since 5, which came out in 2013. So it's been 10 years since the last game. We now know it'll be at least 12 years until we get 6. Before we talk about the trailer specifically, though, I do want to talk about the nature of the leaks that Rockstar has been dealing with. We talked a lot about the leaked information because, it's been speculated about that this new game was going to take place in Vice City, or at least return to a fictionalized version of Vice City, aka Florida, whatever. We heard about reports about that. We heard about female protagonists, possibly being at the forefront of the game. A lot of that stuff that had been reported on that we talked about on this very show ended up turning out to be true just based on the nature of last year's leaks, which were major and massive. I mean, it's it has to be one of the biggest breaches in really any form of entertainment. I mean, 90 hours of stuff was released online, and it really exposed a lot of what the game was going to be about. But not only that, once we got past that moment, the damn trailer for this game leaked early as well. It was supposed to come out. We're recording this on a Tuesday. It was supposed to come out this morning at 9 a.m. and somebody leaked it late yesterday evening, Monday evening. And so it prompted Rockstar to just go ahead and release the trailer online, full probably 15 hours earlier than expected. So before we talk about the specific trailers, the game, what it's going to look like, I mean, how do you feel about this? Just the fact that like this game, I don't know. I guess it's just so sought after. It's so anticipated that you got these people that are going after it, doing these hacks and just like revealing this stuff before it's really ready to be shown.
It was funny about GTA. Like you said, there's so much hunger for it. It's almost like when No Way Home was a thing, right? Everyone was like, "Oh, where that leak at? Where that leak at? We got to see that leak. Where's Tobey Maguire? Where's he at?" It kind of feels like that in a lot of ways because it is such a hunger for it. And what was so interesting, it was like hearing it was like people who work for Rockstars, like their kids talking too much or like giving away some of this information for the game. I'm like, if you don't make your baby sign an NDA, if you don't make your like something, like what is what is going on? Why do these kids have so much power out here? But it really is just ramping up. I think the anticipation is just so crazy right now for this game, especially this season in particular. December is a video game season, like between Christmas, Black Friday, Thanksgiving, and Game Awards. This is like usually the time of the year where video games are being talked about the most. And so I can imagine what it's like at Rockstar, what it's like even surrounding the news of GTA. In fact, when the trailer came out, you can like, if you YouTube the trailer, some of the first hits you get are like news outlets. News outlets ain't out. NBC ain't out here talking about no goddamn Zelda. You know what I'm saying? They're not reporting Zelda, but a lot of news outlets are like, that GTA trailer just came out. Got like, what? You got news outlets talking about it. I think it's like a different energy for a game that really is coming out, and the anticipation really is different than a lot of other games across mediums. And it is also different because of the time in between in which we get this. There's a lot of games we've been excited about, but this time jump between GTA 5 and 6 is crazy. It really is. But I think, it really just speaks to, I think, the quality that Rockstar has in what they're able to produce, man, with their team. And so if anything, they should be flattered, but it is still pretty crazy the way this stuff is being leaked.
Yeah, Rockstar has they've starved us for like 10 years now, like not getting the new GTA game. It's a really long time. They've never taken this type of break, but to go back to 5, it speaks to just how successful that game is. I mean, it's sold the second most copies of any game in history. They've made just so much money, really, from GTA Online.
3 systems.
Yeah, 3 generations.
Isn't that crazy? It's on PS like 3, 4,
and 5 now.
5.
They have remixed and remastered the fuck out of that game. And then, of course, GTA Online has just been a gold mine for them. That's really where they've made so much of their money, to be able to milk that for everything that it's been worth. And it's kind of been revolutionary for, I think, how they might approach this franchise moving forward. So they haven't really had the pressure necessarily to deliver a new game. But I think in the past, like 3 years, once the PS5 and the Xbox Series S came out, everybody was starting to say like, okay, now it's been a while. We need to start moving towards the future. So yes, the desire is there to want a new game. And as you said, I think that prompts people to do illegal shit. And, really the sad reality is that I think people who work just tirelessly on this stuff to have their stuff come out in the ways that they have. It's really unfortunate. The leaks last year, like you don't want to see something in that way, especially if you've just spent so much time and energy. You work really, really hard on that stuff. You just know
Mm-hmm.
how many man hours go into that. People have made, I'm sure, all sorts of sacrifices. There were all the reports about the crunch culture at Rockstar and how they've tried to really get away
Mm-hmm.
from that and try to get
Yeah.
away from the treatment of its employees. And that's not just them. That's a lot of, you talk a lot about
Mm-hmm.
the gaming companies, several of them going through that and just the
Mm-hmm.
industry trying to really shift that paradigm. And so it's unfortunate. And the trailer now, it's like, damn, just 15 hours. I know that they had a ton of plans, in place. They probably had their entire company that was going to be on hand to celebrate that moment at 9 a.m. Eastern
Yeah.
time. And even people in the industry who talk about this stuff, who review stuff, who react to these things, they all of a sudden have to scrap everything that they had planned
Mm-hmm.
and shift shit around. I'm sure none of them were ready to go into their studios and do reactions and breakdowns and Easter egg videos. Like that also fucks up that whole plan. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate when people have to just uproot everything that they had, sort of laid out because of people just not being patient enough and just wanting to, for whatever reason, just leak shit out. But that being said, Grand Theft Auto, Rockstar, they're so huge, they're so influential that I don't think any of this will be in vain. I think ultimately when the game comes out, we'll see it's going to be one of, if not the most successful games ever. But we got to talk specifically about this and the trailer and what it means. So all suspicions, all rumors essentially confirmed. We are going back to Vice City, but it's even much more than that. It will be a female protagonist, but it is much more than that. There are many things to break down here. I want to just quickly read a bit of the synopsis, and then we can talk about some of the things that they showed in this teaser. But Rockstar released a press release, and it says, quotes, Grand Theft Auto 6 heads to the state of Leonida, home of the neon-soaked streets of Vice City and beyond, in the biggest, most immersive evolution of the Grand Theft Auto series yet. And so once you look at this trailer, you again can see that there is a female protagonist. Lucia is her name. She also has a boyfriend named Jason. It feels like it's a Bonnie and Clyde situation, perhaps, is going to
Mm-hmm.
be kind of the main focus of the story. But Leonida is representing the state of Florida. That's going to be their version of Florida. Vice City will be a part of that. And I think that this trailer shows that there's going to be much more than just the city. It's going to be a lot more expansive, very similar to what they did with Grand Theft Auto 5, where they were trying to
Mm-hmm.
recreate the state of California. So what's your, sort of opening thoughts about it? I do want to dive into some more specific aspects about it, maybe what the story might talk about, some of the things that
Mm-hmm.
they might try to tackle, but just general feelings, first reactions. How did you feel about the trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6?
Oh, the thing is about GTA is the model is already there. What makes the game great can't really change. It really is just like, okay, what little things are we going to add here and there? And for me, it really is just a generational step up. It's just time to say, hey, new consoles are out. We got some new power. Let's make the map a little bigger. Let's make some things look better. Let's make them feel better the ways we can. Let's use some of these new devices. But it's still GTA, and I think that's exactly what we're getting here. It looks in already feels good to me. I love how they're using the playful nature of GTA 2, right? It's not all let's get down to business in the trailer. When you watch it, it is it's kind of a lot of funny stuff and a lot of ridiculousness happening in the trailer. So I kind of love some of that campy stuff because before GTA in a lot of early GTAs, there were always funny stuff happening, but a lot of their promo was always like serious, like, oh, GTA, we're out here doing this and that. But this is a little more camp. But I think it's because the player base has made it that, right? The player base, you just talked about how they've been milking GTA Online. The player base has been milking RP. Like role playing GTA has been crazy, y'all. Like you can turn on Twitch right now, and somebody probably has 60,000 viewers is RPing GTA online right now. It's so crazy. And so how impressive people have gotten with some of those things. But I feel like this trailer is speaking to some of those things. So man, I really have no complaints. I think they're on to something. I really love how they're using the VI Roman numeral 6 like Vice City. I think that's really cool. Thing that they're doing again, a very small like artsy thing was that's kind of cool. I see what you did there, kind of type thing. But it looks good. I'm just a little sad that we're back in Vice City. It's like, oh, we're back again. But again, I think overall, again, because this is a complete overhaul, because everything will be bigger, everything will be better. I'm not too mad. I think it'll be a beautiful game. And I'm very excited to play it, man. I think it's still a good trailer.
Yeah, GTA, it is one of the biggest forget games. It's one of the biggest franchises, most lucrative franchises out there. And this is certainly one of the most anticipated games in history. And GTA is my favorite franchise. I mean, being honest, and that's not like a revolutionary thing to say. It's an easy pick because the games have done so much. But you know, what I do love about GTA is the fact that it is pulling so much from popular culture, from American culture, from film, from TV. All of that stuff is all throughout the GTA games, especially with 3, which really just changed
Oh yeah.
the entire paradigm of the video game industry forever. It's one of the most influential games of all time. And from there on, every GTA game that comes out, it creates so much excitement even within me. Like I noticed this about myself, and it happened once again when this trailer for 6 came out. I watch these trailers so much all the time. I play these things over and over and over again. I don't even watch movie trailers as much as I watch a GTA trailer. And I don't know what it is. Like I didn't think that would be the case now because like I'm not as much of a gamer now as I used to be when I was younger, when previous games like 5 and 4 and 3 came out. But I always just go back and just watch these things over and over because I'm just so engrossed by them. I'm just so impressed by the scale, the enormity of the games, what they're going after, the ambition behind them. They just always really capture me. And this is no exception. I love what this looks like. This graphic fidelity and everything that they're doing here from a visual perspective is fucking incredible. The very first shot of Lucia, when you see her face looking in that prison window and she turns around, I didn't realize I was watching a game. I'm like, this is a real person looking. I'm looking like that uncanny aspect about it had come to life for me. And there's a couple of scenes like that in this trailer, the shot of the beach, and you can see all the people walking, the different body types of the NPCs is really, really impressive. It's kind of crazy what they're doing here. All the different skin tones, the body types, bigger people, larger people, smaller people, more model-like physiques. That stuff is really, really cool. Obviously, the expansive nature of Florida and what that can, you know, sort of be translated to in a video game. I, like you, was a little bit let down that they decided to go back to another location that we technically already explored. I guess this was always the end result. You can't do the high definition 4K rollover transformations of those original settings without going back to Vice City. They've already done Liberty City, they've done San Andreas, and now I hope they complete it with Vice City. I hope the next one we don't just go back to Liberty City again. But now that I'm seeing it, I'm like, wow, there is a lot more to Florida that we have never seen before that they can tackle. They are doing
got the gators
stuff
out.
Oh, it's so much stuff that they can do, and we're going to talk about that. It's just like, wow, like this can be a really, really huge, massive game because there's no place like Florida, as we know and as we see. It's a really unique landscape to tackle, and then the story, which we don't really know anything about it still at this point. This is more of a vibes trailer, but what it seems like the story could ultimately be, again, it taps into that element of pop culture that I think that they always lean on, pulling from things like, you know, prominent TV shows. You know, the last one, 5, it was leaning a lot into Breaking Bad. You know, a lot of 5 was kind of Breaking Bad aesthetics, and Sopranos even as well. You know, a lot of the prestige TV. This one is giving Bonnie and Clyde vibes, you know, of the modern era. You know, so I can't wait to see
Spring Breakers,
what that might look like. Oh my God, please do that. But I do want to talk about the landscape and Leonida, you know, being the setting, and Vice City, you know, going back there, just everything that we saw here, just this culture, these subcultures that they're tapping into as well. There's stuff here that, again, if you're not from Florida, if you haven't spent a lot of time in Florida, it might kind of go over your head. But Florida, it represents a very unique place in America. I mean, when you talk about Florida,
not a real place.
It's this other land that's like, yeah, this is just, I don't know what this is about. And this game seems to be tapping into that whole Florida man stereotype aesthetic, what that means, you know, what that could translate to. And then of course, how social media plays into that as well. And just the prevalence of social media and what that might mean for the game. What are your thoughts on just that and how they conveyed that throughout this trailer? Because there were, I think half of the trailer, if not more than half, is shot through the lens of social media. And then, of course, you just get all these scenes and these vibes of clubs and strip clubs and Florida landscapes, maybe the Florida Keys, Gators, all that stuff, the weather change. What are your thoughts just about the wide variety of what that can ultimately mean for the game?
Yeah, I feel like the original Vice City kind of had this, everything you said though, like it kind of had like a more clubby, you know what I mean, neon feel to it. This has that, but it's actually feels like it's adding so much more Florida culture to it. Like in the trailer, feels like I seen a dude that looked like Kodak Black in the trailer. I was like, is that Kodak Black? Like it's I mean, it's more then again, Florida is such a crazy, weird, wild place, man. Again, it's not a real place. I'm telling you, it's like a Hayao Miyazaki. I don't know what be going on there, but it feels like they're able to go in those different facets, right? Because they have so much more landscape to play with. They're able to play with again more of that gator culture that they had, which is funny. One of my favorite parts of Red Dead 2 is like there's gators in the water and they will kill you.
They will kill
It's
the fuck out of you in that game.
and
Yes.
so now I feel like they've like kind of copy pasted a little bit, like, oh shoot, we got to bring them Florida Gators in this game. But it adds like another level to exactly what Florida is. Like it is. I have been to Florida, and that has really happened. You will be sitting somewhere, and you will see a lizard or a gator or something like some crazy something will show up. And I feel like they're saying that in this trailer. Like you said, there's also social media aspects to Florida. I have seen so many Miami, Orlando club things like within the past like 10 years, to be honest. It's like, wow, Florida is like that. And they're also speaking to that in this trailer, in this game, man. There does seem to be but there's also added things within that time, right? Stripping has changed within that time. Sex work has changed in that time. Surgery, I swear one of these girls in here got a BBL. But like even beach culture there's actually one of the most realistic shots in the whole trailer. It's like 3 seconds, but like it's like a picture of a beach, people running on the beach. I was like, is that
Yeah.
real?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the moment I was like, what the heck is this game? That looked hella real. I had to back up and say, is this not real footage? Are we sure this isn't real footage? It looks really good, but I really do, like you said, I love the social media aspect of it. Everybody's doing something crazy. There was like a follow button on one of the things. It was like there's lives happening, and I think it'll make for a really cool video game because different again from the original Vice City, from some of these past GTA's. Social media has changed, and so it adds a different dynamic to the game, and I think it'll make it different. I think it'll make it exciting, man. So I'm down to see what they do here, what and what direction they decide to go in.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to a decent amount of different areas of Florida. And one thing you'll notice instantly is that no one city is alike the next. Like they are all
Mhm.
vastly different places. Like what you'll experience in Orlando versus Miami and South Beach, completely different. What you experience
Mhm.
in Jacksonville or Tallahassee compared to Orlando, completely different. Like you're going to get so
Yeah.
many different cultures and vibes depending on where you go in Florida. And I love that it feels like the ambition of this game is to try to tackle all of those different things because they do have areas, of course, Vice City being sort of the central hub presumably is going to
Mhm.
represent that South Beach, excuse me, culture. But there's also like remnants of Dade County in there is what it feels like. It's probably going to be a
Mhm.
lot of black people in that specific
Yeah.
area. There's that
Mhm.
one shot that looks really real of the bridges across the water,
Yeah.
that overhead shot, which feels like it might be like the Florida Keys or something of that element, right?
Mhm.
Like that is incredibly real. The beaches of Miami, as you said, just all of that stuff come to life, man. I mean, there's so much you can do and so much you can tackle. And I'm even wondering, are they gonna possibly get into the theme parks down there? Because like Florida is known for
Mm.
Disney and Universal. Like, I'm not surprised that we wouldn't see something like that now. Like if they plan to include that, like hold that back. That can be a huge
That would be
reveal.
crazy.
Like imagine they have their own theme park in the
Mhm.
game. That can be something, and that's a huge part of Florida culture. You know,
It
that's
is.
big. You go to Orlando, every fucking second store is a Mickey Mouse store. You know, you buy
It is.
merchandise for Disney.
Mhm.
So I wonder if that's also going to play a role in the game as well. But I just love what they're doing here and just how again all these subcultures, you know, club culture, beach culture, you
Mhm. They had
know,
people like dirt biking on the
the mud
it's
the
a
mud
lot. The
balls.
mud
I
yeah.
mean,
Mhm.
all of that stuff. You know, that can be a real prevalent force and feature of the game as it appears to be, and also just the weather too, and what you can achieve with Florida weather. It's so unpredictable. You know, hurricane season. There was one shot of a guy like standing out of his car.
Mhm.
He had an American flag, you know, sort of a shirt on or something. But you look at the weather; it looks like a hurricane is like brewing down there, and they can just do so much stuff with that too. And I'm
Mhm.
interested to see like how they play with the different weather conditions as well down there. To go back to the social media stuff though, because every GTA game is tackling some aspect of American and pop culture, and we talked about the last ones and what they kind of did with that. I even think about San Andreas, obviously an homage to early 90s gangster music culture, Vice City, 80s, club, cocaine, all that stuff was big. Now social media does appear to be the main thing. And it's interesting because social media did exist, of course, in 2013 when 5 came out, and social media played a part in 5, but social media then compared to what it is now, totally different. As you said, it's evolved, it's grown. Things like Live and TikTok and all these different new features that we have. I mean, social media kind of has substituted what we used to experience with watching the news or going to the movies like that. That's what social media is for now. And then also influencer culture didn't really exist that much. It was kind of in its infancy in 2013, but now like influencer culture is a big aspect to what people do on social right now. And it feels like that might play a part in it too. How do you think that's going to tie in with what we know Rockstar to be historically? Because one of the things that came out when we were first talking about this game about a year and a half ago, reports were saying that along with having a female protagonist was that, Rockstar as a company, we're going to kind of go in a new direction in terms of how they satirize and address certain topics in America and popular culture. And they weren't going to punch down on specific groups as much as they used to. We know that they can be edgy in their material. That's what you go to GTA games for. Like, they are not politically correct. They say some wild shit. They do some wild shit. But how do you deal with that when it comes to social media, which social media is like a ridiculous place? It's not a real place, and anything goes on social media. We see and hear everything from hateful shit to comedic stuff. Do you fear at all that might kind of be absence, that edge that Rockstar used to have might be a little bit different, and they might, be a little bit more reserved in their approach? And how does that social media conversation sort of play into that with what they're tackling with the story?
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. I think part of me feels like we'll still get the punchiness that we need. We still get the grittiness that we want and need from Rockstar, but I think hopefully they're taking a intrinsic look, and some of those things that can be maybe slightly a little more offensive is the things they're taking away from. I think that's the goal for them. In fact, I think you said, they're not politically correct. I think they'll like slightly more political, if that makes sense. They'll get slightly more, okay, this is the direction in which we're going. In fact, you're talking about the social media of it all. Hopefully, again, our main protagonist, Lucia, and her man, I forgot the guy's name.
Oh, Jason,
her partner in crime, and Jason in crime. I actually hope social media is a part of what they have going down, right? Social media is a part of. Part of me feels like, again, we don't know the story at all, but part of me feels like they'll end up being like street legends in social media. Media will play part in that, because there's a very small thing that happens in the trailer where like they go by a billboard, and the billboard has like a new drug on it that's like,
yes,
see that?
It's called angst, like, something like
it cures emotions, or something. It's like America's favorite dissociative or something on that. I was like, that's really interesting. If you haven't read A Brave New World, they have this drug called Soma that kind of does like the same thing. It's crazy. But it's very interesting, right? Because I think one of the biggest things about social media that also kind of goes hand in hand, in which where we've grown in the past 10 years, is mental health. And so part of me is hoping like, dang, if y'all talk about that, to me, that's some real shit. Like, that's some like dark, deep, I'm an influencer, social media did this to me. There's a drug out there that can help cure your emotions. There's this, there's that. I just feel like there's other aspects and things to where if y'all dial down like that might have been a little too offensive, I don't know about that, but then kind of like ramp up some of these other things to talk about, I think we're being a great spot. I think they have a lot of things for us and a lot of secrets for us. They can say, no, this is still GTA. This is still gritty. It ain't like strip clubs are going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just still crazy. I think they're on to something. And I think like you said, this has potential to even be bigger than 5 if done right, because so much has changed and we got new all of these other things. I really think there's a lot of potential there.
That mental health aspect is interesting. I did pick up on that because I'm like, they clearly are going to touch on that. And it's interesting too, because a lot of the social clips in this trailer are they're parodies of real life events that have happened. Like, you can go and see the side-by-side comparisons of like, Oh, that definitely happened. There was definitely a girl twerking on top of a moving
Oh, the
car.
car.
For why? Like for poor K. Why are we doing this? But
Hmm.
and by the way, that also looked so fucking real. Like
It looked really real.
dude, her hair is just unbelievable how they I've never seen video game hair
It's
look like
crazy.
that. It's ridiculous. Like a black woman's hair, we might have finally fucking cracked it.
Yeah,
But
it's crazy.
stuff like that can really play into the narrative a lot. And to your point, I think Rocks, they're funny. They're funny. They're
They are
humorous. And, you
funny.
know, it's like they do that really, really well. Their dialogue is so great in a lot of their games. It's so sharp. It could compare to a lot of big cinematic feature films. And so I think that they're going to be smartly tackling these different things, doing
I
it
think
in
so
a
too.
satirical way, of course,
Hmm.
but doing it in a way that's still smart and intelligent. And I think, you know, we just talked about the boys. The boys, I feel like, has
Yeah.
perfected that formula. If they can do it,
Hmm.
then Rockstar can do it. And so I'm very excited about that aspect as well. By the way, Troy Baker voicing Jason. What the fuck?
Crazy.
Like
What's
that's
that
crazy,
about?
right? Like fucking legend, you know, who voiced
Legend.
Joel in the Last of Us games has now arrived to Grand Theft Auto. That was like that actually put a smile on my face, probably more
No,
than
me
anything.
too.
I was like,
Yeah, me
wow,
too.
that's a great choice there. The last thing I want to ask you about, the last big thing, 2025. It's gonna come out a while from now, right? You know,
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
this is not all that unusual, though. Rockstar typically promotes their stuff well in advance. You know, it's 2023 right now, winter season
Yep.
2023. If you go
Hmm.
back and look at the release dates of previous trailers, they've done this. Like
It's
GTA
about the same
5,
time.
it's about the same time.
Hmm.
They released a trailer for that. And I remember it as clear as day. I was literally in class when the GTA 5 trailer dropped in college, November 2011. That game didn't come out till September 2013, almost 2 years later. Again, remember it as clear as day. So 2025, we don't have a specific, you know, sort of set date there. It could be Q1, it could be Q2. I don't know, maybe holiday season. Regardless of that, how do you feel about that? That it's going to be such a long lead time that we're going to have to wait anywhere between a year and a half to 2 years until we get our hands on this game.
It's just like anything else. There's several movies coming out in 2025 that are coming out after GTA, probably. You know what I mean? Like that we've heard about in video games too. I think it's I think for a long time, the GTA fan base just wanted to hear and feel something because there was like silence for so long
Like, is this
from
shit real or
Rockstar.
not? What's
Yeah,
going
it
on?
did not feel like GTA 6 was a real project, but now we have something tangible to hold on to. Again, who knows? Maybe E3 next year, right? Or which is really not a thing anymore, but somebody's show somewhere, PlayStation Showcase, Xbox Showcase. There could be another trailer next summer to give people something else to hold on to. I really think it's closer than people realize it is. Again, 2025. I mean, the Batman, Superman, Elliot, all of these other like movies and things are coming out that exact same year. I feel like we'll be able to wait. And I think it'll be well worth the wait too. I think more than anything, this is GTA. Let's take our time. Yeah, I get it. It's been a very long time. Don't get me wrong, but the trailer's out now. We kind of have a general sense of when it's coming out. I think we'll be fine. I have no qualms with it at all.
Yeah, I mean they've not missed. They've not missed, and we've seen time and time again the wait has always been worth it. I mean that's how you get the quality. That's how they ensure that they are one of the most powerful companies in the video game industry. That's why GTA as a franchise is one of the best selling and most influential franchises. Like they have to take their time. This is a diamond. You can't rush the production of that. Like they have to make sure that this
Exactly.
is tip top shape. And I think also too, to speak to that crunch culture, if you want to make sure that your employees are in a good space, they're healthy, they're not fucking quitting and feeling burnout, like give them the time that they need. And so if we need another fucking 2 years, so be it to get to the game where it needs to be. And we already know that they've been working on this game for a long time. Like it's been in some form of development probably since 5, and they probably really got it going. I would assume they really got focused on it probably after Red Dead 2. That's probably when they were like, all right,
Mhm.
now it's really time. And that was what, 2018 when that came out. So if we're assuming now, we're talking about 6-7 year development cycle, which you need that for a complete revamp of a series. And the last thing that people have to remember too, everybody doesn't have a PS5 and an Xbox Series X or S yet.
Not yet.
People got to buy those systems. And
Hmm.
what better way to give people a year and a half, 2 years to make the plans that they need to make
Hmm.
sure that they got a system to play this game? Because as of now, we don't have a date for any other consoles, any, PC release. We don't know that yet, but we know
Hmm.
it's not going to be on PS4. It's going to be PS5, Xbox Series S and X. And not everybody is upgraded to that, but okay. You
You got
go ahead,
time.
you start to plan, you save that money because these are expensive systems. You're going to spend 5, 6, maybe even $700 on these things. You gotta plan that out. Parents got to plan that for their kids if they're going to get
Mhm.
that GTA game. So they know the market and this and the cycle in which they have to follow. And so 2025, when it comes, I have no doubt it's gonna be explosive. Everybody's going to be talking about it. It'll be one of the biggest selling anything ever of all time, just because the anticipation is just through the roof at this point. And this trailer certainly helped it. But we will certainly see in 2025